Hi.
Hi.
So, if you subscribe to one of the first,
and the second
Toy Den Nerds subscription box, you were blessed with the amazing first edition signed copy. Are you going to show it?
Oh yeah, I can show it.
There we go. Purge Worlds. It's a Monday. Purge Worlds. And wonderful comic. I know that we've gotten a lot of great feedback from it. I read it. I loved it. The artwork's amazing. The writing's amazing. And it's super unique because it actually has a soundtrack. And that follows along with it. That wasn't in the boxes, but definitely available to get. So it's super unique and cool and interesting. And since it was part of our first inaugural box, we thought it would be neat to have a quick interview with the author and the illustrator of the comic, which you'll be seeing shortly.
I think that's it.
Is that it?
I think we can give them their names.
Look at that intro.
It's
yeah.
Black Oman Comics. It's Joshua Oman and Christopher Black.
Makes sense.
And we will let you know who's who, so you guys
it's right
know.
Up front, so
yeah,
you don't have to guess or anything. These
but
things.
Here's the interview with these guys.
They're a lot of fun, and
we met them at a Rocky Mountain Con, which was great. And they agreed to do an interview with us. Okay, besties. So that's on them now.
Enjoy.
So we have Joshua and see they're both wearing glasses. So Joshua's in the beard, and then we got Chris in the red shirt.
That's right, yeah.
And of course you have us.
Hi.
So,
hey guys.
Josh first. Why don't you just tell us about yourself and all that good stuff, and then we'll go to Chris afterwards.
Okay, yeah, cool. My background is in film. I got a degree in film at the University of Utah, and I wrote a lot of scripts, and I've been a huge fan of comic books all the time. And so when I was approached to draw a comic book by this band, there's this local band in Salt Lake that needed a comic book done for their project. So they approached me and asked me to draw it for them, and I started it. I wrote the script and I started drawing, and it was more work than I could handle. And at that time, Chris lived across the street from me. He was my neighbor, and I saw that he'd been drawing, so I approached him and talked to him about saying, hey, this is more than I can do. Do you want to hop over and help me draw this? I wrote it, and I need someone that's better than me and faster than me. And Chris is all of those things. So.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to Chris. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I've been drawing my entire life. My interests in comic books have kind of waxed and waned. Really recently I've been reading a ton, but I kind of fell out of it as I was growing up, just because it got too expensive, as comic books do.
Yeah.
And just approached me about doing Purge Worlds, and I was kind of at the time working on my own stuff, all by myself, kind of in a basement dungeon, thrown away. And it was a really cool opportunity for me. It was something I really wanted to do, was collaborate with somebody who had kind of a different vision and wanted to do something maybe a little different than I do. And I was really excited to do it, and I'm still really excited. It's really cool. It's fun.
Cool. So let me ask you this. Now you've both been. I'm going to go to Chris first since I have you up.
Sure.
You both done illustrating. You've both done drawing. Mm-hmm. Can you remember what your first drawing was when you were a kid? We'll go to Chris first, or your favorite. Your favorite is.
It was Ninja Turtle. Like I think all the way through grade school, it was like all Ninja Turtles all the time, like no matter what. And that's what all my friends was drawing too. It was kind of weird.
And of course, follow-up question: who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Donatello.
Very good. Okay, I didn't have to feed you that one. Good man. All right, we'll go to Josh. Josh, same question.
Well, I thought this was being boring. Ninja Turtles.
Well, you guys did grow up near each other, right? Is that what it was? Or?
We didn't. Well, no.
No.
Yeah, we just. I love Turtles. My favorite was Leonardo.
Okay.
I'm getting an echo on that.
No.
Good. Okay. Yeah. So.
Oh, no. But that's okay.
We are.
Go ahead. You're good.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah, I always loved drawing the Ninja Turtles, and I still love, probably to this day, Laird Eastman's Ninja Turtles is my favorite comic book. So.
As you got past, this is for Josh. As you got past the whole big Ninja Turtles thing, did you ever try to mimic any comic books that you read? Did you ever try to like draw Superman like a different like outfit or something like that? Did you ever like Did you ever modify a superhero, Josh?
I think so. Yeah. So the books I started collecting after Ninja Turtles, because what happened is the Ninja Turtles cartoon came out, and that's when they got really, really popular. But it was kind of a hard right from where the core of Ninja Turtles was, which is kind of like
Right.
dark, violent, gritty comic book. And so I kind of fell off the Ninja Turtles fandom, and I started collecting Batman and X-Men. And of course, I was a huge fan of Jim Lee, and so I would use him as my inspiration for all of the characters. And I'm like the uber nerd. I was into role-playing games, and so I would use Jim Lee's art as inspiration for my role-playing game characters.
You stole my next question, but we'll go to inspiration in a second. Chris, how about you? Did you ever modify any superheroes?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. That's kind of, well, I spent most of my early drawing career just drawing other people's stuff. You know, just drawing. So, and I had my favorites. It was like Jim Lee and I can't remember who else. Rob Liefeld was one that I really liked a lot, even though people crap on him all the time nowadays. So I really liked him. And I used to draw his stuff all the time and maybe take a few things off and put my own name on them. You know, a different superhero. I can't remember what any of them were, but yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
All right, so let's get into Purge Worlds.
Sure.
Chris, since we're on you, we'll let you start. Who came up with the idea, and then we'll go with that. If Chris came up with it, or where did it all come from?
Well, it originally started with Josh and Josh. So Josh Oman, my partner, has a friend. Is it a cousin, something like that? And they both kind of started working on the story together. So I wasn't even there for that part. Yeah. Okay,
so let's go over to Josh.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Let's go to Josh so we can get this from the beginning. All right, Josh. We'll start from the beginning. You go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I am getting a lot of feedback on this. Can you guys hear? Is it echoing?
Nope, not on this end.
Okay, so it should be easy for you to edit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna.
As we just saw Chris's forehead in the
so what happened was I was approached by Conquer Monster, and their band that had a CD. They've done one CD, and they wanted to do something else that had a more cohesive. They had this concept album they wanted to create. And the concept was all they had was an idea. They had a future assassin who could travel through space. And their initial idea was a train that would take you through space. That train idea went away when I got involved. It was cool, but we couldn't find a way to make it work. It wasn't too cheesy. So they brought me on, and Josh. So in the credits of the first Purge Worlds, you'll see there's a guy named Josh Faulkner, and he's one of the musicians at Conquer Monster. And he and I would meet every week, and we just go over the story. We created a really big outline of this story, and we came up with a kind of like travel technology, how you travel by music, and we came up with a story of this assassin, and then I started thumbnailing the pages, and I was getting into it. I maybe got 3 pages into it before I realized it would be too much work, and so I brought Chris over. But so it started there, and I was really glad they asked me to do this book. But what happened was we kind of took their initial idea and just blew it up. So it's a whole other story. We have a big story arc worked out. We're working on issue 2, and it's pretty good. I think you guys got a copy. I think you got a copy of Purge Worlds going into the
with you.
box, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
There it is right there. Bring this up for
Yeah, cool.
Yep. People will get a signed copy. This is actually my signed copy. I shouldn't show that one. So Chris.
Yeah.
So you got brought on to this a little later on, or?
Yeah, it was still pretty early in the project as far as like the illustration part of it goes. Like Josh just had like a couple pages that he had started working on, and in fact, like the first couple pages are pretty much his pages done in my style.
Okay.
It's exactly what it is. So yeah, I just kind of aped whatever he was doing and just made it look prettier, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you guys both were illustrators in the comic?
Kinda, yeah. So a lot of the line work that you see is me.
Okay.
So pretty much all of it actually. And we hired people to come do the inking, if you're familiar with the comic book process. He's the guy who kind of traces over my pencils. Right. And as it got closer to the deadline we were trying to hit, we kind of all did everything near the end. So a lot of it is colored by, some of it's colored by me, some of it's colored by Josh, some of it's colored by our other guy who was helping out.
We probably don't want to keep doing that process. We probably like that. I just want to write Chris with pencil.
Yeah.
Have an inker and colorist.
Which leads into my next question for Josh. Are any of the characters based off of people that you know in your life?
So the musicians are in it.
Okay.
And we know them. So as you get to about the middle of the book, there's this band that plays. Music has been outlawed except for use for what's called metatransit. And metatransit uses your song. So every person has their own personal song. And your song contains your memories and your abilities, and it's kind of like your soul, right? So they have these live musicians that will play your song and record it, and they're in there. So Conquer Monster is part of it. They're in there, and then I'd like to think that there's aspects of the personality in there, but I'm not an assassin, so not based on me.
Well, can you divulge any information? I'll ask Josh because he's a writer about issue 2 and maybe a release date.
Yeah. So we're shooting for spring.
Okay.
And we have a date of March 1st when we'd like to have the book done. Chris just sent me thumbnails to page 6.
Yep.
And the other 5 pages are done and inked, so I'm working with a colorist to get those colored. But we should be able to pound through them. This is a little bit shorter. Book 1's about 33 pages, and this one's the standard 22 pages. But yeah, book 2, you learn more about. There's a girl that's introduced at the end of book 1. You learn more about her, a little bit of her backstory and what happens, and then book 2 ends in a way that really launches the story into the main event. What's gonna happen? So a lot happens in book 2. It's exciting. It's cool, and we meet 2 or 3 really important new characters. So.
Oh, nice. Chris, did you do anything differently with the illustrations in this one, or like any? I know I'm throwing that question at you.
No, yeah, it's a good question though. Because I feel like I'm still really early in my comic book career. If that makes any sense. So like my style's always kind of evolving, and I'm always trying to change things and do things a little better. Like one thing I've really been trying to push is making my drawings more dynamic.
Right.
That's always something I'm trying to do. So I think a lot has changed in this issue. Like even from the first page, like I felt a lot better about it, and I think it looks better just in general.
Awesome.
It's so good. So good, guys.
Do you have any questions, or can we go on to the next one?
Keep going.
All right, I'll go on to the next one. I'll pop over to Josh. I swear, Chris, you're just as important. We're going to go to Josh.
Okay.
what do you work in? What can you tell us about what your web comic is and that story?
Yeah, it's called Valkyrie Falls. So Valkyrie Falls is the story of these 3 Viking women, and what happens is their village is attacked while the men are out on raids. This was a common thing that would happen in Viking culture all the time, and there always be some people kind of left behind. And then the women learned to fight. Viking women were really tough, and but that's the story here. Is there's a large enemy force that hits the village while the men are away, and they carry the kids and a bunch of slaves, and they take them away. So these 3 women who were like farmers and moms and older sisters, they banded together and they decided we're going to go after them. And so it's a story of these 3 women that are going after to kind of rescue the kids. And I thought that was important. I have a daughter married to a great wife, and I wanted to put some really strong female protagonists out there. I wanted to kind of explore some of those ideas and to put them in a situation where they were in kind of like male-dominated society. And we kind of talk about like a lot of even modern issues. I think the last strip that went up just kind of talked about abuse, and so we kind of tackle some of those, and hopefully in a way that is fun and is interesting, but still brings to light some of the topics that I feel like are important in my life. So yeah, that's what that is. We put the goal is to put a strip up every week, and it usually ends up maybe 2 or 3 a month. But yeah, and that's just a webcomic format, so that comes out and it's on our website at blackomencomics.com, or you can find it at valkyriefalls.com, and of course we post it on our Facebook and Twitter too.
Okay, and Chris, you're illustrating on that?
Yep,
okay.
That's me.
So did you guys come up with the idea together, and you just like, hey, let's do this web comic?
Thanks, Chris. Oh yeah.
You, Chris.
I can't really remember how it started. Usually, I think it was definitely Josh's idea at the beginning.
Okay.
I mean, that's almost certain. But it really kind of had a really organic development where he had a lot of ideas, and I kind of helped refine them and kind of added some of my ideas, and he kind of refined some of my ideas, and it really kind of took off from there.
The webcomic is a fun way to do it because it's short. You each have one strip, right? And you have these little stories you can tell. And I remember one day, because we meet every week and just kind of see where we're going and how we work individually, and we meet up every Wednesday and kind of review things. And he brought like 5 or 6 hilarious scripts. We have yet to draw them, but they were kind of an aside to the main story that were just brilliant. And so it's kind of a fun way to do it, is because once you kind of create the world and these characters, because it's a comic strip and it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit more lighthearted, it's easier to maybe try some of these tangential stories. So Chris brought a lot of his own flavor to it as well. And I think of the 2 projects, that's the one I feel like is the more collaborative between the 2 of us.
Definitely.
Purge Worlds, I had basically written the entire thing and asked Chris to come in and illustrate it, and he's done a lot to refine the story and to help make the script tighter. But that was really like my story and Chris's art, while Valkyrie Falls is something I feel like we've really worked on together.
And it's a little more lighthearted, I guess. Is it more of a comedy?
Yeah,
kind of like
I think so. We hope so. That's the hope. Is it funny? If it's funny, then yes, it's a comedy.
So, will you guys having? I'll ask Chris this.
Sure.
Having more towards not you personally, but more toward the webcomic is a strong female character. Were you guys trying to bring the female, like more of a female audience into the comic realm? Because I know there's a lot, but obviously it's mostly male dominated in comic world.
Yeah.
Were you trying to bring more of a female audience in?
I don't know that we thought of it in that terms specifically, I guess. I think we just really loved the idea of having these strong female characters. And I think I don't know, it's kind of as a byproduct of wanting to make just a really cool story with female characters. So I don't think we thought of it in those terms, but we've definitely thought of it since then. That's for sure.
I think
And the other thing about Valkyrie Falls that's been cool is that one got a much more of a kind of organic start. Like, we were surprised at the amount of people that just kind of saw it, read it, and we were just posting it on Facebook and stuff. And like, a lot of people have reached out to me, especially about the last one, which, like I say, was specifically about abuse and kind of how abuse perpetuates itself. And I had a lot of people reach out to me and just say, "This is really neat that you're like making a story and talking about these tough topics." So it's kind of become this a little bit of a viral idea. I wouldn't say we've totally gone viral on it because we still only have, I don't know, less than 200 readers, I think, each week on it. But it's also, there was a group of filmmakers that saw it and came and asked, said, "Do you have a script of this?" And I said, "Well, no, not yet, but I'll give you one." And because that, like I said, was my background. I write movie scripts, and, and my work is in film and video. And so I submitted a script to them, and they've been super excited about it since. In fact, they've just been talking to us about the next steps of actually creating a trailer based on it. So we started like casting, building costumes, shooting photos, kind of as proof of concept. But hopefully, if we can kind of create enough of a proof of concept of this, I think if it works, we're going to pitch it out and try to get a name attached to it and produce it in a legit way.
Wow, that's that's awesome. Yeah, didn't know that part. We are going to probably wrap this up.
So as you mentioned, that Purge Worlds, was part of the first subscription to Toy and Nerds box. So for the lucky people who got it, that was great. But for those who didn't, how can they go about finding that? If they watch this and like, that sounds awesome, I want to read it, I want to have one of my own, I want to have the CD, I want to have everything. How do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so you can order it on our website at blackomencomics.com. There's a link to Purge Worlds Issue 1, and if you get the CD as well, you'll see that the band actually, like I said, it's a soundtrack that goes right along with it. So you can order it there. Also, it's available in digital format on our website. You can grab it there, or you can snag it on Amazon. I think Chris got the Amazon link up just last week.
Yep, just last week.
Yeah, we'll put that on our site too.
Awesome.
So that we can get to our
Yeah,
site.
thanks. And incidentally, we were like extremely happy to have made this relationship with Toy Den Nerds. It was cool. We had a really good show at Salt Lake Comic Con last year, and then we headed out to a small Rocky Mountain Con in Denver where we met you guys. And we walked away from that show kind of wondering, are we going to doing this? Like, just these little shows where there weren't that many people, and we didn't sell very many books, and there were times where we went 20 minutes without anyone coming to our table, and we were kind of like, it was annoying, but it was really cool that we had made a relationship, and there's been a few of those where it's just like these little relationships that turn out to be just really awesome. So we are extremely happy to be working with you guys. That's really cool. We're stoked to do that. And for any comic book creators out there listening, I say, you know what, go out, hit the cons, because every time you do, whether you're selling books or making relationships, there's some value credit there. And that's your tribe, you know. Get out among your people in your tribe and spend some time with fellow nerds, and good things happen.
Yeah, this is a little nod to Chris. We sent out a box to a few of our people that we stream to, and did you do the cover work, the cover art for number 1?
Yep, that was me.
One of our streamers actually opened it up and said, if I would have saw this on the shelf, I look at the art sometimes more than the story.
Yeah.
That if I would have saw this on the shelf, I would have picked it up.
Well, that's good to hear. That's definitely good to hear.
Well done, Chris.
Really great. To people that are watching, what would you say, Chris? Is there anything that you'd say to aspiring illustrators that are just starting out, or like, it seems so hard to get into that type of work? Do you have any words for them?
Yeah, definitely. As far as the whole professional aspect of it, it's really kind of hard to get into. Just like generally speaking, like there's a really high intimidation factor into getting into illustration, because you pick up comic books, and some of those illustrators are just phenomenal, just so just so far out there, so far beyond your own capabilities that it's really intimidating. Just trying to think of yourself as being part of that group. But I mean, this is something that Josh and I have said all the time: is that if we just keep going, if we just stick with it, that somebody's gonna see our comic book and love it, and somebody's gonna read a story that we wrote or see some artwork that we did, and really it's gonna translate something. It's gonna speak to them. So, yeah.
Josh, for you, the writing aspect. Any words for aspiring writers?
Yeah, I think that.
Do you feel that writers should partner up with illustrators, like right from the beginning sometimes, because playing off of each other would be easier?
Absolutely. I think, again, something Chris and I have discussed is I think both of us, we were able to progress much more quickly in our stories because we had someone else doing half of it when you didn't have to do everything on your own. I think that, and I'm sure Chris would agree with this, but there's something about that creative process. If it's in you to be an artist or a writer, you're going to be doing it anyway because it's one of those things you just can't stop doing. You constantly want to write or you constantly want to draw. And whether you're making money at it or whether you're working for a company or someone's paying you to do it, if you're just kind of doing it. So there's that piece of it. And I think if you don't have that piece that drives you, it's just too hard. You're not going to keep going in it because like Chris says, it's kind of a long tail process and it takes a lot and you can get discouraged, but if you're one of those people that wants to keep doing it and you just keep drawing and writing, then I would definitely think that one of the keys is finding someone to collaborate with. And Chris and I kind of took it slow at first. We said, let's try this first book. Let's work together for a year. We didn't even formalize anything yet. We just said, we'll sink a year into this, make sure that A, we can stand each other, and B, that our creative process works. Yeah. And at the end of that year, we kind of said, okay, well, we haven't wanted to kill each other yet. This is working pretty good. And that's when we actually formalized something. But I found a friend that I could collaborate with. I really, really loved his work. And someone who brought kind of more creative energy out of me. And the other thing that a partner does, this is really important, is they help hold you accountable. Like we can kind of call each other on the carpet if neither of us is pulling our weight. And we fortunately found a way to do that in a way that hasn't made Chris want to slit my throat, I think.
You get that from her. Makes me pull my weight.
Yeah. Yes, collaborate, do it. And like Chris said, just keep going. I think, when you go to Comic Cons, you see a lot of issue 1s. You even see a lot of issue 2s and 3s. You don't see a lot of issue 10 and 11,
Yeah.
And there's several reasons why it's expensive, but the people that stick with it, they're the ones that do well. And, when you talk to the people that hit every single con and they sell books at every con, every one of them they just never stopped.
Right.
So.
That's why we were glad that we were able to get our hands on your number 1. You guys were nice enough to sign it for us. And also, being able to, having you guys design our first box was just, we didn't even give you an idea of what to do. And you guys, Chris, you came out with this, we just looked at it, was just a sketch. It wasn't even finished. And we're like, oh my God, that looks so awesome. And we're like, yeah, we'll just leave it like that, like the sketch part, and we'll just throw it on. And then you cleaned it up, and it looked even better. And where did you get the idea?
Oh, well, I think I watched some of your YouTube videos.
Okay.
That was a big part.
Oh, so that's why she has the blazing sword, and I'm using it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, I just loved your videos. I thought they were so cool, and it's weird to see somebody who's so excited about toys at your age, I guess, but but it was so cool because it reminded me of how much I loved toys growing up, how much I still love toys. Like I've got a collection of X-Men figurines, sitting in the garage, and I always go out with the kids and try and pick up toys, and there's things that I want to get that they're completely not interested in, and vice versa. But so much of the inspiration just came from you guys. I thought you guys had a really cool energy about you that you were just so excited about these things.
And I was telling Veronica, I was telling her that it's so cool because you don't see the little things until you really look at it. Like on the front, the guy's holding the box closed.
Yeah.
Like that. That right there is so. I have just the little things. It was Wicked awesome.
That's something Chris is really good at. In fact, as you go through the book, if you read it a second or third time as you go through, you see little details like that in each of the drawings. It's like, oh man, look at the dance scene. The dance scene. You've got all these characters in there, and there's just lots of really fun details in that. So Chris is really good at that. Yeah, and you guys, your concept was so exciting for us to say, oh, and we love that our book is in there. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Debut box was you guys, and and now our box is your design, which is great. We love that fact that you guys were able to do that for us.
Yeah, thanks. We do too.
Chris, any final thoughts for people that are watching? I guess we're just Jerry Springer part where it's like final thoughts. Any final thoughts for our audience? Or anything you want to plug? I mean, this is
I've got my own illustration site, chrisblackillustration.com, and go to blackomencomics.com and check out our stuff. We've got a lot of cool stuff on there, and I think we've got nothing but room to grow. So you're going to see a lot of cool stuff on there, I think.
And we'll hopefully get first copies of everything that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Every time you do something new, it's going to be a new box for you guys. So.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll send them out to you. Yeah, it'd be awesome. We'd love to get your guys' feedback on how we're doing.
Yeah, we'll get our audience feedback too, and make sure we share that with you guys.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Anything final from you, Josh?
Just a sincere thanks to you guys and to all of your listeners. This is really fun for us. In a way, it kind of legitimizes what we do when we meet up every week and we're like, all right, let's make comic books. And the cool thing is there's people reading them. So yes, thank you. Thanks to you guys. We're excited. We look forward to talking with you all again soon. And in the meantime, pop over and follow us on Facebook, Black Omen Comics. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys later.
Hey, thank you.
Bye, Chris.
See you.
Bye, Josh.
See ya.
Figure out how to.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay, cool.
See you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.